Hello again, this is episode 4. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to talk about this time because I feel like I have all kinds of things to say and also nothing. So we'll see where this goes. Keep watching. According to various sources I trust, because I don't trust myself on this one, I do actually sound different now. I got called sir on the phone by a telemarketer, which never happens. They either call me ma'am or ask to talk to my husband or my parents. I'm not sure which one of those upsets me most. Anyway, which leads to the weirdest thing that's happened to me lately, which is that I haven't really been misgendered often. Like, at all, in the last month. It's been rather a long time since I was called ma'am by anybody, on the phone or otherwise. I mean, it didn't happen all that often before. It would happen just often enough to kind of, like, poke a little hole in my confidence. And recently it hasn't been happening, which is making me feel a little bit more confident. But I used to, like, every once in a while I'd be excuse me, miss, at work, or, on one occasion, a man seemed to determine my gender by looking at my ass, which wasn't welcome. I was talking with a trans guy friend, I will call him Steve, and he was talking about apparently a new-ish term that's been going around for, people who start out female, for lack of a better word, is coercively assigned female, or coercively assigned female at birth. And he was saying that he didn't think that was fair, that it put too much maliciousness on the doctor going, it's a girl, or on people going, on people's gender assumptions of the baby at birth. I think I agree with him, because it doesn't seem fair to put... Coercion isn't the word I would ever use. Well, it is not the word I would usually use for most forms of gender enforcement in childhood. It's not usually that evil or that violent or that horrible. It's little things. It's like those experiments they talk about where people talk to boy and girl babies different. With, oh, you're so strong versus, oh, you're so pretty. It's that. That's not coercion. That's like, well, it's brainwashing, really. But that also sounds way too evil. There's not an evil... People, I don't think, on the whole, are inherently evil. Some people are inherently evil. But all people ever aren't usually... They're not out to get some little kid. They're not... If I believed that I was coercively assigned female at birth, I would have to believe way more evil of my parents, of my family, of my preschool teachers. I can't think of it as having been done to me on purpose. That sounds horrible. I don't think that's the way it was. At the point, I mean, there was coercive gendering later, when I said, hey, I'm a boy, and everyone was like, no. That's coercive gendering. That's aggressive gendering. I don't think that's coercion at that point, that's just aggression. And aggressive gendering sucks. It sucks to say, this is who I am, and this is my gender identity, and have grown-ups and people in your school say, nope, sorry, rejected. Like, they have a big invalidate your identity stamp. That's not okay. That is coercive, aggressive, evil gendering. But the doctor saying it's a girl, it's a boy, that's not coercion. And that's not aggression in the deliberate sense. It may be stupid as fuck. It is totally limiting and not a great way to start out the world, having the biggest piece of your identity until you can talk or establish any other part of your identity be your gender. That's not fair. But they're babies. What do you got to work with? That's not as evil as coercively assigned female at birth makes it sound. On the subject of evil and gender, I work at the public library. and I frequently find myself putting my books in the children's section, which is, depending on how you look at it, either full of the world's most evil, scary gender politics, or a bastion of liberation and gender excitement, or both, which is the real answer. But, I mean, the children's section encompasses all kinds of books. We have Heather Has Two Mommies, and, I don't know, we have a wide range of books for all kinds of worldviews, and we have the feminist princess books where the princess decides she doesn't need a prince and goes off and slays the dragon by herself, and we also have pretty damn classic, like, girl sits in tower, waits for boy, boy rescues, everything's awesome. The sort of gender politics of the children's section go all over the place. Because the gender politics of children's book authors go all over the place, and the gender politics of children go all over the place, etc., etc. Anyway, the scary politics part comes in the weird, basically wrong notion that there are girl books and boy books. And I see this with, like, parents who come in, and the dads who are sort of visibly uncomfortable to be standing there holding Little House on the Prairie, because Little House on the Prairie is a girl book, and they don't want to get too far away from their daughter lest anyone think they're reading Little House on the Prairie. First of all, Little House on the Prairie is a fucking good book, so shut up. Second of all, if you are a grown man in the children's section holding a children's book, nobody assumes it's for you. Third, the Little House on the Prairie books are not inherently female. They have a female protagonist. They have a female supporting characters. They also have Pa, who kills a bear in the first book. And they have all kinds of other things. They have slaughtering hogs, and there's a whole book about the husband when he's a little boy. And the notion of the Little House on the Prairie books, which is my example for the purpose of argument, that they're girl books is foolish. They're books. If you wanted to assign them, like, an identity category, it would be, like, American Pioneer books. That would be a sensible identity category for Little House on the Prairie. But girl book is stupid. Correspondingly, the idea that, like, Nancy Drew is for girls and the Hardy Boys are for boys, stupid. Gendering in literature is stupid. I absolutely believe that there are more little girls who read My Friend Flicka than little boys. But that's self-perpetuating. Because mothers who read and liked My Friend Flicka say to their daughters, I read and liked My Friend Flicka. Fathers who didn't read My Friend Flicka because everybody said, oh, it was a girl's book, don't have any perception of My Friend Flicka, so they don't tell their sons to read My Friend Flicka. Sons don't read My Friend Flicka when their mom says, read My Friend Flicka, because it's a girl book. Once it was assigned a girl book, men don't read it, so men don't think, hey, I could read that book, because no other men did. It's self-perpetuating. And it's stupid, because My Friend Flicka is supposedly a good book. I haven't read My Friend Flicka. I don't know. However, I haven't not read My Friend Flicka because it's a girl book. I didn't read it because I didn't go through that horse phase that all small children are supposed to go through, and that's a lie, too. In conclusion, children should read whatever goddamn books they please, because children should be reading books. I feel that was sufficient babbling out of me. Tune in next week approximately, and I'll babble more.